This movie is in my top 10 greatest movies ever made. And I'm talking Godfather, Raging Bull, The Return of the King. Oh, yeah! The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King is the best of the trilogy when it comes to, like, achievements and overall greatness of a movie. No better film, in my opinion, has ever just been so massive. I mean, it's like such a big film. If you look at it, like, everything about it is just big. And yet, it has so much heart to it. And there's so many gut-wrenching parts that you cry or want to cry. And then you just, like, care about every character. The way the dialogue is just displayed in this movie is flawless. And every character is just amazing. So The Return of the King starts off with Smeagol when he is Smeagol completely, not Gollum. I mean, back when he looks like a hobbit. And the backstory they give there shocked everybody. When it came out, nobody expected this scene to be the first scene of the movie. You're like, okay, how's Return of the King going to start? And it goes back to when Gollum first gets the ring. It's such an emotional scene because he kills his best friend. And it's just like, oh my goodness, that is how evil this ring is. Like, he sees it for like 3 seconds and kills his best friend over it. And it really impacts the whole movie because that's why Frodo is so, like, drugged down by this ring, is because of how powerful it is. Like my other reviews, this one's going to have spoilers in it, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch. This movie has a couple big heroes in it. One of them is obviously Aragorn. It's called Return of the King because Aragorn is returning to Gondor as king. The other one is Gandalf. Gandalf is such a stud. It is unbelievable. Like, the guy is just awesome. And the third one is Samwise Gamgee. I'm going to talk about Frodo and Sam for a minute. Frodo's acting in this movie is excellent because he's like been carrying this ring for 2 years. Or, not 2 years, that's how long it took to make the movies. He's been carrying this ring for however long it's supposed to be. And he's been weighted down by it so much. And he slowly is just getting more and more evil and corrupt. And he just can't make it going. And Sam is there to just keep him going, keep him going. And Gollum the whole time is trying to say no, like trying to downplay Sam the whole time. I forgot in the last review about Two Towers that there's the whole scene with Faramir. I thought that was in Return of the King. I believe it's just in the Two Towers. I totally forgot about that. And so after the Faramir thing, they're going to go to Shelob's lair, and Gollum pretty much gets Frodo to turn against Sam. And Sam ends up leaving Frodo for a while, and then later on comes back. And that whole Shelob lair scene, it's so creepy and gritty and well shot. Not many movies have spiders in them, if you've ever looked at it. Like, not many have spiders that are bigger than maybe that. And so, Shelob's like, you know, huge spider. And they made her so real and so realistic that I don't know how they did it. It's still amazing how they do that stuff. Sam then delivers some of the best lines in the whole movie. It's later on when they're climbing up to Mount Doom. I'm not doing this review, obviously, in order because they wouldn't be at Mount Doom by now. But when he gets up and he says, you know, Frodo, I can't carry it for you, but I will carry you. And he puts Frodo on his back and then goes. You're just like, yes, Sam. Yes. Like, you are the reason that Frodo ever even got to there. And it all started by him eavesdropping back in the very first movie. One of the first scenes, he says, have you been eavesdropping? He's like, no, sir, I haven't been dropping no eaves. And then after that, he goes and he honors his word the whole time and ends up going with Frodo all the way to the end. Now, just before that, when Frodo was captured in the tower, Sam is like, becomes the man. He was a hobbit, and he finally steps it up to what I expect Bilbo to do in The Hobbit. You know how Bilbo in The Hobbit, if you've ever read the book, he starts out really scared and doesn't want to fight, no adventures, and by the end, he becomes like, I mean, a warrior, really, in Hobbit form. Sam is same kind of transition because he gets there and he knows he has to rescue Frodo after he's been taken to the tower, and Sam goes up there and he just starts just killing like uruks and orcs, like big orcs and stuff, and he just starts laying them to waste, and you're just like, you are the man, Sam. Like, he made this movie, and I am so upset that this movie did not get nominated for more awards. Okay, well, I'll talk Academy Awards in a minute, but Sam should have been nominated because he was excellent in this movie. The other part of the movie you have Isengard. Okay, Isengard has just been destroyed by the Ents and flooded. Saruman the White. Now, before I go any farther, the extended edition has so much more here. Like, all this is extended, okay? If you have not seen the extended edition, this is all new to you. Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, Theoden, and Éomer, like all that whole people from Helm's Deep, they all go to Isengard, and because they want to see Treebeard and stuff, and they see Merry and Pippin. This is the first time that Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn have seen Merry and Pippin since they started like looking for them in the second movie. So this is like a big deal. They meet them, and then there's a discussion between Saruman the White and Gandalf that is not in the it's only in the extended edition. They start talking, and Gandalf's saying, you know, you're done for, and Saruman the White pulls out the Plantiar up on top of the tower. He's at the very top of Orthanc, and he pulls it out and he says, I have seen it, or whatever. I don't really remember the exact dialogue. And Wormtongue comes up from behind and stabs Saruman. Now, there's been dialogue just exchanged and stuff, but this is a real short version. He stabs Saruman the White, and then Legolas shoots Wormtongue so they can, because they don't want Saruman killed yet. They need information. Saruman falls off of Orthanc, like this 300-foot building at least, and impales himself on one of those like watermill things. Just straight impales himself, and the Plantiar rolls out of his jacket into the water. That is the reason that Pippin then goes down into the water and picks up the Plantiar and gives it to Gandalf. So after that whole ordeal, which was awesome, Gandalf the White breaks the staff of Saruman, which is a big deal. He says, your staff's broken. He goes, poof, and it's broken. So then they decide, what are they going to do when Gondor calls for help? Because you know Gondor is in trouble, and Gandalf heads over there with Pippin to Gondor, and Rohan has to decide if they're going to help Gondor. After an ordeal, Gandalf pretty much has Pippin signal for Rohan to come, and Rohan decides to come. And when Rohan gets to the battle at Minas Tirith, they are in for a surprise. Minas Tirith, the last battle, there's so many battles in this movie. The battle at Minas Tirith is like huge. It makes the battle at Helm's Deep look small, although the one at Helm's Deep seemed bigger because of the Uruks and the impact. Just the way it was filmed, it seemed like a bigger battle, but this one has like way more orcs, like so many. It's ridiculous. And that was a nice voice crack. There's a part where Gandalf and the men of Gondor are waiting for this door to be broken in, the main gate, and he says, whatever comes through that door, stand your ground. And it busts open, and like 5 trolls walk in, just start swinging these like hammers, and even Gandalf goes like looks back, and then he says volley, and they just start fighting. And Gandalf's not afraid to get in the middle of a fight. He is in there just fighting the whole time. There's a whole thing with Faramir going down with his dad. Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli had gone off in a different direction and summoned the army of the dead. And if you had not seen the extended edition, you don't see this whole scene with the dead, or at least all of it. And there's a whole scene earlier on where he summons them. And they get off the boat, and the dead wipe out all the bad guys at that battle. Then Aragorn becomes Aragorn. This is where he really becomes from Strider the Ranger to Aragorn the King. Okay, first off, in order to summon that army, he has to be the king. Like, he has to have the sword and everything. He has the sword, he becomes king. Well, king. He accepts that he is the king. They know that Frodo and Sam are on their way to Mount Doom, and they don't know how far they are. And so Aragorn says, we're going to meet them at their gate. We're going to draw all the attention to the Black Gate so Frodo and Sam can have safe passage through Mordor. So they get what's left of the army of Gondor, and they're at the main gate, and the mouth of Sauron, this is only extended edition, comes out of the gate and starts talking to Aragorn. And honestly, the guy is a freaking creep. His mouth is like this big, and he has huge teeth, and his lips are all split from like it being dry. It's just gross. And he says, he shows up the mithril jacket that Frodo had, and he says, one of your hobbits is dead. And Aragorn says, everybody's like distraught. They think he really is dead. And Aragorn says, just walks right up and just cuts the head off the mouth of Sauron. He says, "I will not believe that. I cannot." And then he says, "For Frodo," and then he just starts attacking. Just run at full-out attack. The hobbits run, and then you got Gandalf and Legolas and Gimli. Everybody just starts running and fighting. Another big battle breaks out. That's where Frodo and Sam get to Mount Doom and decide to destroy the ring. And Frodo, as he's going to drop it in, one of the best scenes I've seen in a long time, because it shocked me, honestly. It shocked me. He's about to drop it, he says, "No, it's mine." Just like Isildur did in the first movie. He puts it on. Sam is just lost it because he just went to all this work to get Frodo to this point, and Frodo betrays him and puts the ring on, turns invisible. Sam has no idea where he's at. And Sam's like, "No, Mr. Frodo." Gollum saves the day. Gollum is like that character that at the end of the movie, you end up loving Gollum as a character. You can't help but feel sorry for the guy because he's had such... It's like, honestly, it's like a drug addict where you feel so sorry for them because it's a drug and the ring is a drug and he cannot get away from it and it corrupted him. So he knocks Sam out. He tackles Frodo because he can sniff him and sense him. He bites the ring off Frodo and then they do their little wrestling match, tumble off the cliff. And Gollum is falling, and he looks at it, and he's happy. And you're just like, it almost made me cry. Because I was just thinking of Gollum, like, his whole life, all he went for was this ring. And now he finally has it, and he's going to die because of it. And he hits this lava, and he just, like, he doesn't want it to die, and he just, like, holds it up. And then even the ring itself is trying not to die, because that, like, crustiness comes over, and then the ring seeps through. It takes that long. And it finally goes down. The ring is destroyed. Frodo hangs onto the cliff. Sam rescues him. They're running away from all that. Right then, Sauron's eye is like, "Oh no." And it's like, starts falling, and the whole Mordor just collapses. And it's just a great final battle to this great trilogy. And this is the movie that had like 8 endings to it. In the theater, I seriously thought it ended like 4 times. And every time I was glad it didn't. You finally get back to Rivendell, where Frodo wakes up. Then the crowning of the king happens at Minas Tirith. And Aragorn becomes king of who he needs to be. And the best part of the movie, brought the most chills to me, was when Aragorn said, "You hobbits bow to no one," and he bows to the hobbits. Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that scene. How awesome that would be if you had a king like Aragorn. Like, why can't we have people like this, like in real life, that would just, no matter what, he's just like, "You bow to no one," and he bows to them. And it's just like, wow, these hobbits have hobbited. It's so awesome. I'm sad it's over. Like, I don't want the Lord of the Rings to be over. I wish they would just never be done. That's why I love the extended edition. It's 4 hours and 20 minutes long, which is a lot of movie, and there's so much more I could talk about, and I'll probably come out with more reviews about Lord of the Rings later, or just things about it. But that is my opinion of the Lord of the Rings Return of the King in my top 5 greatest movies ever made. There's some that it just cannot be above because of when they were made, but it is a flawless movie, epic conclusion. Okay, Academy Awards here. I'm going to talk Academy Awards real quick. The Return of the King was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, and it won all 11. It's the only time in the history that a movie's ever swept that many awards. The Fellowship of the Ring was nominated for 13, but only won 5. And then The Two Towers was nominated for 5, I believe. Not only did people love it, the Academy loved it. And like I said, I wish Aragorn would have been nominated for an award, Viggo Mortensen. Sam definitely should have. Sean Astin should have been nominated, without a doubt. And then I was thinking there was 1 or 2 other awards that I looked through and I found that I was like, dude, they could have been nominated for that. So I'm a little upset that it honestly didn't win a single actor's award. Not one. It wasn't even nominated for 1 actor in that whole movie. Like, what? Stick around for my Hobbit review. I'm going to try and do it Friday or so tomorrow, but I might be too busy. But I'll try and get it out as soon as possible. A real quick video probably, and then I'll come out with a bigger one later on with spoilers and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's actually not short. I said it was going to be short, but it's not because it's too big of a movie to make short. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to all the stuff down below, my friend Steven's channel. I think he pronounced his name Stephen Palawa. Not positive, but I think that's how it is. He's one of the other guys on YouTube that I watch his videos, and he does good reviews. So subscribe to that also. And until next time, peace.